In House of the Dragon Season 2, Episode 3, we saw Daemon and Caraxes solo Harrenhal, some classic House Bracken vs Blackwood action, Aemon's Rhaena, and the Dragon Moondancer, the Mount of Baelor Targaryen. In this video, I will break down the episode and point out any Easter eggs, references, or hidden lore you might have missed. If you enjoy this video, please like and subscribe. First up, we have a new addition to the opening tapestry. We see the funeral of Daenerys Targaryen. Notice the stain of blood that goes through his neck, symbolizing the manner of his death. We also see the rat catchers who were hanged by Aegon. Their blood now stains the tapestry, symbolizing that House Targaryen's rule is one born of blood. The episode opens in the Riverlands with House Bracken and House Blackwood. These two houses have an ancient blood feud. While the exact origin of the feud has been lost to time, one thing has remained. The two houses have a bitter and deep hatred for each other, and every generation or so, one house does something to reignite this ancient rivalry. Last season, we saw Willem Blackwood straight up murder Jarrell Bracken after he is heckled during his proposal to Rhaenyra, but this is just one of many historical feuds. Most of the conflicts begin with border disputes over the land between the two houses, which is the case in this episode. A few houses throughout Westeros have these types of rivalries, and when a war comes to Westeros, they use it as an opportunity and an excuse to settle the score. However, more often than not, these conflicts rarely change the status quo, and the endless cycle of revenge and hatred keeps on spinning. Just as after the Battle of the Burning Mill, the mill can be seen endlessly turning as hundreds lay dead. Despite Arryk's opposition to her claim, Rhaenyra has the decency to bury the brothers together, laying their souls to rest with each other. However, just like the rest of the younger characters in the series, Jace is growing more angry and vengeful. This episode really highlights how the men, specifically the younger generations, are eager for war and really demonstrates their desire to seek vengeance, whereas the older characters and the women are more restrained and seek peace. Rhaenys further highlights this. Due to the brazenness of the plan to assassinate Rhaenyra, Rhaenys deduces that Otto Hightower is no longer in control of Aegon and suspects that the young have now taken control of Team Green, meaning the days of ravens and politicking is at an end. Despite this, Rhaenys still counsels Rhaenyra to seek peace and urges her to reach out to Alicent in the hopes that the war can be avoided. Next, we see Criston Cole. Last episode, he was made Hand of the King, and he now wears the chain of the Hand of the King to mark his new station. As Cole makes his way to the small council meeting, he comes across the new Kingsguard. 3 new members have been appointed, and all 3 are Aegon's drinking companions. It is clear they are not really worthy of the position. They lean on walls, can be seen seated while on duty, and have no respect for their oaths. In some ways, they are a reflection of Aegon's rule, unworthy. At the small council meeting, it is clear that Cole is also unworthy and unsuited for his position. When questions of what is to be done next are asked, Cole is looked to for a plan, but at first he fails to provide one, leading to the other members of the council to speak up. Currently, the Greens are rallying their armies. There is a force from Old Town led by Ormond Hightower. Aegon's brother Daeron and his dragon Tessarion are also in Old Town, and Jasper Wilde, the Master of Laws, urges Aegon to have Daeron and Tessarion join the Hightowers on their march. In the Westerlands, the Lannisters muster their own force as well. Meanwhile, Cole finally comes up with a plan of his own to march from King's Landing and take Harrenhal. Harrenhal is the center of Westeros, and the Riverlands is where majority of the war will be fought, so securing the castle is essential for victory. Aegon suggests that Aemond and Vhagar also join Cole on the march, but Cole says Vhagar is needed to stay and defend the city, which frustrates Aemond. After all, the pair was seen scheming this exact plan earlier in the season. Instead, Aegon intends to ride out on Sunfire with Cole, but Aemond says this is a brave thought, but opposes it. Team Green cannot risk the loss of their king. In a sense, it seems that Aemond does not want Aegon to fly out alone and gain whatever glory comes with victory for himself. Just like Daemon, Aemond seeks glory and wants to step out from the shadow of his brother. Aegon then says, "I am as fearsome as any of them," to which the council all grows uneasy. Clearly, they think Aegon is no match for any of the other dragon riders. Throughout the scene, Aemond also plays with the coin that he found after Blood and Cheese snuck into his chambers. Meanwhile, back on Dragonstone, sea smoke circles the castle. Rhaenyra states that lately the dragon has grown restless. Mysaria Arya says perhaps he is lonely, which is a callback to season 1 when Viserys and Rhaena spoke of Vhagar. Viserys said that he imagines even dragons get lonely. Rhaenyra's reaction to Miss Arya's words is one of surprise, but there might be a deeper meaning here. Sea Smoke has been riderless since Laenor faked his death and sailed off into the sunset, but it is now clear that the dragon seeks a new rider to bond with. However, according to book lore, there has never been a case of a dragon bonding with a new rider while their old rider still lives. So if Sea Smoke is showing signs that he is seeking a new rider, it might low-key confirm to Rhaenyra that Laenor has died off-screen, which will allow for Sea Smoke to get a new rider and the canon of George's universe to go unbroken. Rhaenyra confirms that Lady Mysaria was the one who warned of Arryk's attempt to infiltrate Dragonstone last episode. Her warning saved Rhaenyra's life, and just as Alys Strong is made Master of Whispers to Aegon, Lady Mysaria allies herself with Rhaenyra and earns herself a similar position to oppose Larys. Given the assassination attempt on her own life and the successful assassination of Jaehaerys, Rhaenyra fears for the safety of her own children, so decides to send them to safer locations for the duration of the war. Joffrey is to be sent to Rhaenyra's cousin Lady Jane Arryn in the Vale. Remember, Rhaenyra's mother was from House Arryn, so Joffrey will likely be safe amongst his kin. The hatchlings Tyraxes and Stormcloud are to be sent along with him. In exchange for the support of House Arryn, a dragon and their rider was required to protect the Vale. Rhaenyra's other children with Daemon, Aegon the Younger and Viserys are to be sent to Pentos across the Narrow Sea. Rhaena is to accompany the boys, teach them, train them and protect them from harm. Pentos was where Daemon and Rhaena lived for a time during season 1. It is also the place where Rhaena's mother died, so Rhaena is unsettled at the thought of returning and reliving those memories. Rhaena also lacks a dragon and feels that she has been sent away on babysitting duties while her sister gets to remain. However, later in the episode, she comes to understand her duty. Along with Rhaenyra's heirs and their dragons, she is also tasked with the protection of several dragon eggs. Essentially, she is responsible for the survival of not just Rhaenyra's bloodline, but also the dragons. Last episode, Daemon was low-key banished for the role that he played in Jaehaerys' death, so to regain the trust of Rhaenyra, Daemon mounted Caraxes and set off, intent on claiming Harrenhal for her. Harrenhal has a storied history, and many in the realm believe the castle to be cursed. Harrenhal was built by Harren the Black, who was a brutal Ironborn king. It took him 40 years to raise the castle. Thousands died during its construction, and their blood was mixed into the mortar for the stonework. Harren also cut down an ancient grove of weirwood trees to provide the timber for rafters and beams in his great hall. Weirwood trees are sacred to the children of the forest and the worshippers of the old gods. This desecration of their religion, and perhaps the unintentional blood sacrifice in the use of blood in the mortar, might provide a more magical reason behind the curse of Harrenhal. But as far as the realm is concerned, the curse was caused by Aegon the Conqueror. During Aegon's conquest of Westeros, he met opposition from Harren the Black. Aegon offered the Ironborn ruler one chance to yield, but Harren refused, believing himself safe behind his high walls. Shortly after sunset, Aegon, mounted on Balerion, fell upon Harrenhal, burning the newly constructed castle. The flames were so hot that they melted the stonework, and Harren and his entire line perished in the inferno. The half-destroyed ruins still remain habitable, but are a shadow of their former glory. The castle stands as a reminder of the true power of House Targaryen and their dragons. The curse of Harrenhal was born in this moment, and many believe that it prevents any lord from holding Harrenhal indefinitely. As Daemon moves through the castle, it is clear this place is unsettling to say the least, and there might be some truth to the curse of Harrenhal. Daemon also sees the Great Hall where decades earlier the Council of 101 AC was held, where it was determined that Viserys would inherit Jaehaerys' throne. Later on, Daemon experiences a strange vision or nightmare. He sees Rhaenyra stitching Jaehaerys' head back onto his body. Rhaenyra says she is always left to clean up his messes. The fact that Daemon sees Rhaenyra as a child in this vision is also telling of how he still views her as a child and not the grown woman and queen she has become. It is also clear from the vision that Daemon has guilt over Jaehaerys' death, and it is weighing upon his conscience. Given that Daemon wakes up next to a weirwood tree, we can assume that the dream is linked to the old gods rather than the dragon dreams some members of House Targaryen experience. After he awakens, a strange woman stands near him and says, "You will die in this place." This is Alys Strong, the bastard sister to Harwin and Larys. How Strong descend from the First Men. First Men typically worshipped the old gods. And in the books, some worshippers of the old gods possess powerful magic and are capable of granting strange dreams to others. So could Alys be implanting these dreams within Daemon? And if so, for what purpose? Back in King's Landing, Criston Cole rides out with his force. Sir Gawain Hightower, Alicent's brother, joins him in his march. Gawain was the knight in season 1 that Daemon defeated in the joust. Gawain does not respect Cole or his authority and desires to sleep in an inn rather than the cold forest with the rest of Cole's forces. Throughout the episode, it is made clear that the younger generation does not fully grasp the severity and dangers of war. Cole confronts Gawain about his folly, but they are spotted by Baela and her dragon Moondancer. Back on Dragonstone, Rhaenyra takes counsel and is urged once again to unleash the dragons and to force those who resist her to submit or die in fire. But Rhaenyra is reluctant to use the dragons. Once unleashed, the Greens will surely use their own dragons. Rhaenyra believes that fear of the dragons is a better weapon than actually using them. Kind of like how in our world, powerful countries hoard nuclear weaponry as a deterrent. Dragons are like the nukes of Westeros. As the meeting goes on, it is clear that Rhaenyra's council do not truly respect her. With Daemon gone, her position is weakened, and they urge her to go into hiding so that they may wage war on her behalf. But Rhaenyra intends to lead, and is still under the illusion that peace is an option. In King's Landing, Aegon readies himself to go to war. He dons a set of Valyrian steel armor, said to be the armor of Aegon the Conqueror. Aegon was crowned with the Conqueror's crown and gifted the Conqueror's sword, and now he wears the Conqueror's armor. The Greens go all in on propaganda to portray Aegon as the Conqueror come again. But while Aegon might look the part, the armor and the crown are ill-fitting, symbolizing that he is unworthy of the legacy and ill-fit to rule. Larys tells Aegon that there are rumors he has been outwitted by his council and tricked into flying to war so that his mother Alicent could rule in his place. Above all, Aegon does not want to be seen as weak or a pawn manipulated by others, so he accepts Larys's counsel and decides to stay in King's Landing. But in reality, this is almost certainly Larys manipulating him to stay. And it works. Aegon even promotes Larys to serve as his Master of Whispers. That evening, we meet Ulf White, who claims to be a bastard son of Balon the Brave, which would make him the half-brother to Viserys and Daemon. In season 1, Viserys and Daemon say that in their youth they frequented the Street of Silk, so it is plausible that their father did the same thing when he was a young man. The series has already shown us few Targaryen bastards running around the place, and as the story progresses, they will become more and more important. In the same scene, we see Diana, who was a victim of Aegon in season 1. Aegon and his new Kingsguard have a night of drinking. They happen upon Aemond, who is in the embrace of Sylvia. Last season, it was implied that when Aemond was younger, Aegon took him to the Madam to lose his virginity. Aemond has maintained a twisted, motherly relationship with Sylvia, and Aegon teases him for it, just as he teased Aemond in their childhood. But Aemond has crafted a badass persona and downplays his relationship to the Madam. Rhaenyra is informed of Cole's march by Baela and counseled yet again to go to war. Earlier in the episode, she received a raven from Alicent and still believes peace is an option. She uses Miss Arya's knowledge of King's Landing to sneak into the city. She speaks with Alicent, and it is all revealed that Alicent misunderstood Viserys' final words. She thought Viserys had been speaking of their son Aegon, but Rhaenyra realizes he must have been speaking about Aegon the Conqueror and the importance of his dream, the Song of Ice and Fire. So now Alicent knows she crowned Aegon by mistake, but it is all too late.